My God, it looks like a Friday night up in here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, everyone, to the Friday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Hope you had a great week, and thank you so much for spending the beginning of your weekend right here with me. And that means the world. I think that's amazing. And so I'm just thrilled to be here and to be doing the show, and we got a lot of things to bring to you tonight. First and foremost, though, I'm not alone here. I'm joined by the big branch himself of my personal family tree, Mr. Sheldon Thomas. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Good evening, everyone. We are here, Friday show. Hope everybody's has great plans for their weekend. I certainly do, of doing nothing, and that's what I plan to do.
Maybe a video.
Yes, and a video. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Well, good to have you here. Thanks for changing your schedule up. There's probably not going to be a show tomorrow night, and not a scheduled show. There might be a stream earlier in the day, just an impromptu stream, because Don and I are heading over to Medellin Falls for the screening of Flash of Beauty, documentary on Bigfoot, created by Brett Eichenberger and his wife, Jill Remensnyder. And we're going to go over there because there's a whole set of speakers and stuff lined up for it. So we're going to go hang out over there and see the event and to see the video. It also was screened at Vernal, Utah when Don and I were down there, but we didn't get a chance to go over and see it. So we're really looking forward to it. That again is tomorrow afternoon and into the evening, because there's a dinner after that we're going to be attending as well. So all kinds of fun on deck for the Paranormal Portal. But I'll try to stream some of that to you, not actually the presentation, but some of our journey and such, and just keep you apprised of what's going on. So watch the channel. If you're not already subscribed, get subscribed, ring the bell. That way you'll know when we do these impromptu lives. And so that'll be tomorrow. So as such, there won't be a show tomorrow night. I don't know exactly when I'm going to get home. It could be just before 7. It could be after 7. So I don't want to leave you guys in limbo. I don't know. I'm not planning on a show tomorrow night. So anyway, we got a lot to get to tonight here on the show. Of course, we're going to be doing the news, and then we're going to be going to the Discord question of the week, and then we're going to be going to a bunch of fun paranormal goodness that I've brought together for your enjoyment. So I hope you guys are in the mood. And then of course we'll hit the Cryptid corner to wrap it up with some articles from Sasquatch Chronicles, some listener emails that Wes received that he posted over on his blog. So I think that's a full deck. What do you think, Sheldon?
Sounds like a good night to me.
Oh, okay. What's Rachel said? Hi, Tonu. If you have a question for Brent, type. Question for Brent. It's for all of us in the chat. It's good the way you asked. Let me just see.
He said, hi, I have a question. If a candle flickers many times, does that mean a ghost is nearby and the temperature gets cold as well?
Well, candle flickers can be, that's a tough one unless you're sitting in a vacuum. I certainly have seen candles do things that seem indicative of, well, that seems a little weird. Like the flame grows taller and shorter. But I mean, candles in and of themselves, I don't think are determinate other than it's possible that a spirit could influence candles, but I wouldn't rely on a flickering candle to be your indicator of a spiritual presence, just because there's always air moving. I mean, even if you have vents in your house, and everybody does, or fans, or window open, there's going to be circulation of air. There's going to be currents of air that move just because people move through houses. It's not like it just sits still unless it's literally sealed up and nothing's moving. Then, if the candle does weird things, yeah. But a candle flickering in connection with temperature drops and stuff, yeah, that makes it a little more, that's another factor. So together, could they be indicative of spirit? Sure. Are they? I don't know. It's kind of up to you. There's a lot of things that I would suggest. If you think there might be activity going on, even just getting a K2 meter or something, they're, I don't know, $40 or $50, but they do a pretty good job. There can be false positives on those too. Even cars starting from less than a block away can sometimes trigger K2 meters. So again, anytime you're really looking for verification of presences and stuff, you have to weigh in a lot of factors together. On the screen, which you're seeing down there, just below Sheldon's head, is the ghost radar. And that's utilizing the wireless communicator on my tower. And essentially, it's using a very narrow bandwidth of the EM field, but it may very well detect EM anomalies or electromagnetic anomalies. And if it does, it'll trigger, and sometimes it spits out a word. I've never found any relevance with the words it spits out. It's more for I don't know, just for intrigue and we'll just see what pops up. Some nights not much pops up. Other nights it kind of goes crazy. So I don't know. But again, if you're really into paranormal investigating, you have to have a lot of corroborating things, or, if you have the ability to put out a voice recorder. I would caution though, if this is in your home. I've heard both schools of thought, and I kind of agree with the don't do it. But some people would suggest, and I tend to agree, that investigating your own space can cause the activity to increase. And here's why: because when you're establishing communication with something that isn't normally there, or maybe not sure that you want there, you're kind of encouraging its presence. You're giving it a permission of sorts to communicate with you. And that can also inadvertently increase activity because you're giving an implied permission to this being. Now, it could be a loved one, a dear a guardian angel or something. You never know. But it could also be not. And that's the part that I'm not so sure of. There's so many things I could say about this, but I would just suggest that from your initial question, could it be indicative with a candle flickering and a temperature change? Sure, it could be. But, there's any number of possibilities for that as well. So I wouldn't advise anybody to just be, well, the candle flickered, there's a ghost here. Maybe, but maybe not. So along with cold spots, though, or cold temperature dives, that seems a little more likely, but not necessarily determinative in and of itself. So, but thanks for the question. I appreciate that. I think that, it's trust your gut too. If you feel like something's around, then maybe that's your best indicator. Like if you get the kind of the chills, you're like, what's going on? And then the candle flickers and then the temperature goes down. I trust my own body quite a bit in that regard, because I think everybody has a degree of empathy. And when something's around, you may very well know it. And you got to trust your gut on these things. Nobody can tell you yes or no for sure, but if you believe there is, then maybe there is. So I'll just leave it there. But I appreciate the questions. You feel free throughout the course of the show to ask any questions you guys want. I'll give you my opinions, and I don't mean to suggest I'm an expert. I don't think there are experts, but I have some ideas, and if you're interested in them, I'm happy to share them with you guys. So anyway. But it's good to meet you, Tanu. I don't think we've met before, so thank you for checking out the show and coming in and being a part of the experience. Hopefully you're not wildly disappointed, but we just like to have a good time here on the show more than anything. The paranormal in and of itself is creepy enough. I don't think we need to do a dark and brooding show. We just like to kick back and talk about the phenomena. So hopefully you enjoy it, and if you do, please get subscribed.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Tonu, I believe I'm saying that right, says, few months my mother passed away, and that's why it starts. And that thing, every time when I put a candle before, I had never that kind of stuff, but thanks for the info. I'm new here.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you could be right. I'm not saying you're not right, but any one thing alone isn't necessarily indicative of a presence. But if there's several things lining up and your gut's telling you that there is, then you could be very well right. I don't know. I'm sitting where I'm sitting so far away from where you are, and I don't know what your experience is, but watch for things to happen in your house. Watch for shadows moving out of the corner of your eye. Watch for the temperature changes. If you have pets, watch them for any reactions, Cats and dogs are really good about picking up on presences usually. Even my cats will sometimes just be watching something go around the room, and it's nothing that I can see. And maybe they're seeing something smaller than I can see or whatever, but it does make me go, huh. So keep an eye on your pets, and, they seem to be pretty sensitive to that stuff as well. So just some thoughts, but yeah, it's anybody's guess. But yeah, welcome. Good to have you here. So, Sheldon, should we start some news?
Oh, I'm ready.
Sheldon's ready. I hope all of you are ready because it's time for the Paranormal Portal news. Let's dive in and see what I've pulled up for you. There's a few new ones, but I pulled some from Sky News as well. So we'll get to that and see what we get to. All right, let's check out the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your host and anchor, Brent Thomas, joined by my co-anchor, Sheldon Thomas. You're a co-anchor, Sheldon. Did you know that?
I sure am. And I'm on.
You're like a brick. All right. I meant that in a good way,
Okay.
An anchor.
All right.
An anchor, a brick. I don't know. But, brick can be a strong guy. You don't have to take offense at it. Jeez.
Guess you could say I'm a chip off the old block. Am I right?
All right. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I think we're having connection problems, Sheldon. We might lose you. All right. Let's get to the news here. The first article I pulled up for your enjoyment and your information, and hopefully it's not too long. I forgot to see how long this article is, but it's dealing with a topic that we've covered as it came up in the news in the past, and there's a new article up from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please support this site. It's a great site. Lots of fantastic articles, and even a blog on there and stuff with people talking about paranormal stuff. So there's just so much over there. So check it out. It's fantastic. So the article tonight is, let me look at how long this is. It's pretty long, but we'll read a little bit of it. It has to do with the mysterious Havana syndrome. Is the mysterious Havana syndrome, I got a cat here on my microphone, really a psychosomatic illness? Now, the Havana syndrome, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, it was kind of, the phrase was coined because there was some diplomats and CIA people apparently stationed over in Cuba area, and they were in the Havana area, and they were feeling like sick. And like seriously sick and lethargic and nauseous, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong, but simply moving from one room to another they would just feel fine. So when they were in one focused area, they were feeling sick. And there's been several other U.S. Officials that have experienced that same thing. So what the scuttlebutt was, are they being targeted by directed energy weapons like microwaves and stuff? Are they being targeted like, government buildings and stuff? And could that have an effect? And, maybe it could. Headaches were a big thing. People were like having these splitting headaches and feeling nauseous all of a sudden. They would go to a bedroom and then feel fine, like they were normal. But when they would go back out to that same room, it would feel horrible again. So that's kind of in a nutshell what the Havana syndrome was all about. But now they're suggesting it might have been psychosomatic, which I don't really buy. I don't think you just get a splitting headache and nauseous and then you leave a room and you feel better. I don't think that's the way that works, but let's see what it says. Yeah. Neurology expert Robert, there's the ghost right on top of me. Ooh, just stopped right on top of me, Sheldon.
That's what the noise was. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Yeah, it's the creepiest damn noise. I wish maybe a bell would be better. Like ding. Oh yeah, let's look. But it sounds like something's ripping out my soul. It's like, God, really? That's the best sound they could come up with? But yeah, it was apparently something was detected right about here, right next to me. So maybe someone's reading over my shoulder. U.S. intelligence agencies have concluded that the ailments collectively dubbed Havana syndrome, suffered by U.S. diplomats and intelligence operatives, were highly unlikely to have been caused by a foreign government, according to news organizations briefed by intelligence officials familiar with the 7-agency investigation. Wow. How could they all be wrong? Like most people, I first heard about the Havana syndrome in 2017. Over the next year and a half, many theories were put forward regarding the symptoms and how a weapon may have caused them, despite the lack of hard evidence. Many experts suggested that a weapon or some sort was causing the symptoms. I'm an emeritus professor. Oh, here we go. He's going to flex his credentials. I'm an emeritus professor of neurology who studies the inner ear, and my clinical focus is on dizziness and hearing loss. When news of the events broke, I was baffled, but after reading descriptions of the patient's symptoms and test results, I began to doubt that some mysterious weapon was the cause. Really? Wow. Smug. He's kind of smug, isn't he? I have some patients with the same symptoms as the embassy employees on a regular basis. In my dizziness clinic at the University of California, Los Angeles, most have psychosomatic symptoms. Isn't that convenient? No, it's in your imagination. It's just your imagination. You're imagining you're being attacked by energy weapons. You're imagining that headache. It's all in your mind. You're imagining when you leave the room that you feel better. No.
Is psychosomatic, isn't that caused by intention? Like you believe something's happening, so it actually happens?
Yeah.
So you're saying they all believed they were getting sick when they entered this one room? And they stopped believing?
It wasn't just one room. It was like one time it was a guy in his car. And he stopped and he got out of his car and just kind of went over to the side of the road and felt fine. But, one was a guy and his son. Both of them had these serious headaches and nausea. And this was a child. So I don't know. This is a great spin and buzz in a way somebody can flex their knowledge and try to emerge as an official. But I don't know. And I'm not, maybe I shouldn't bash the person because I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But it's kind of like the Mandela effect. Well, it's just a memory artifact. It just happens, Well, I'm pretty much sure that the Bible never said the lion lays or the wolf lays down with the lamb. It was always the lion.
Yes, it was.
And now it's not. And I don't care what anybody says. It was mirror, mirror on the wall, not magic mirror on the wall. It was there's any number of them. And I'm not on board with all of them, but I've had many of those. It's like the weird part about that again was this smugness. Well, it's just a memory artifact. You guys are being silly. Well, if it's one person, it may be a memory artifact or some hole in their ability to recall correctly. But when it's entire segments of the population that have the same memory artifact, really? I mean, that's just so far beyond the scope of rational possibility in my mind. How can everybody or whole segments of the population remember something being completely different than what it is now?
How arrogant, too. I mean, on one hand, the scientists actively say that the brain is the least understood organ in our body. The least understood, and yet they're claiming to know all these things just like, that's what it is. That absolutely it is.
Unless you're a man. Then it's the second least understood. I'm just kidding.
Good one.
Sorry. I'm just had to take the low ball there. But I don't buy that it's just psychosomatic. I don't think these disconnected people having these, it's mass psychogenic illness. Mass psychogenic illness is a condition whereby people in a group feel sick because they think they've been exposed to something dangerous, even though there has been no actual exposure. Well, that's really convenient. I think I'm done reading this, but this is by Robert Balow, professor of neurology. And I have no doubt the guy knows his stuff, but I don't think that he can read a few reports and papers and be suddenly an expert and say, no, it's all psychosomatic. All these people are having psychosomatic things. Just like all these people with Mandela effect issues are not having memory artifacts or disconnected recall of memories and stuff. Now, I will grant that people sometimes don't remember things well. I'm constantly talking to my cousin who he and I grew up, and we both remember different things through our childhood. But when we talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, I remember. I remember being there and seeing that or experiencing that, but I don't recall all of it. But the things I do recall, I really do recall. So, yeah. I don't know. It's anybody's guess.
I would believe it more if he had said something like, it's more likely that it was blah, 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 rather than saying, no, I think it was just psychosomatic, like as if it's a for sure fact. That's the part that kind of gets me, like,
yeah.
How do you know? Why not? Why live in the for sures? Why?
Well, because that's science, though, right? Because they get paid to answer things. And so even if they don't have an answer, they throw out a hypothesis. Now, this isn't, he's never obviously examined everybody in this group that's experienced these symptoms. So, but he's looking at the reports of their examinations. Well, if they were being, hit by energy weapons, what if, and here's, I'm going kind of conspiracy here, so forgive me, but there is actual evidence and proof that there has been testing within our governments here in the U.S. on our own citizens. Sometimes it's targeting a city with specific things just to check and see how it affects the entire population. It's been, soldiers always get weird things. They always get, the brunt of a lot of stuff that maybe they shouldn't, but since they signed on the line, they kind of maybe are more a property in a sense. But, and I don't mean to spread conspiracy theories, but allegedly some of that has been absolutely proven beyond a doubt. They found documents that talk of the testing that's been done on populations, and it's disturbing. So what if this is another example of that? They were testing a weapon on some of their own diplomats and employees because they want to see, is it going to be effective for use, And hell, it's and then you could guarantee that they'd be covering it up, right?
Yeah.
So This sounds to me like kind of a cover up. I don't know, but whatever the case is, I can't pretend to know. I'm just going with my gut here. It's like, really, could they all be just psychosomatic? I don't think so. I don't know how many people collectively experience the Havana syndrome, but I'm pretty sure that if it's more than 3, they all couldn't have the same psychosomatic symptoms. And especially, these are professionals. These are not just, people diving in dumpsters and stuff that may be really dealing with some serious emotional issues. These are professionals allegedly. So I don't know. You be the judge. What can I say? I can just throw out ideas, but that's the first article up. The next one also comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one is also kind of interesting. And Sheldon, keep an eye on the chat in case anybody says anything in there, because I can't see anything while I'm reading the news. Okay. This one is unexplained-mysteries.com brings us UFO hotspot in Japan is now calling itself home to aliens. It's home to aliens, Sheldon.
Nice. I didn't know.
I guess they got to live somewhere.
True.
A town in Japan's Fukushima prefecture has become synonymous with UFO sightings and the idea of alien visitation. At a glance, the rural town of Lino might seem like any other small settlement in Japan. That is, at least until you notice just how much its residents have themed their community around UFOs and aliens. Sounds like Rachel, Nevada. It's right near Area 51. It's a very, very small community, but they got the Alien. It's a Ailey and then INN. And there's a restaurant there and stuff. Once famed for its silk production and weaving industries, Lino has fallen on relatively hard times in recent years, forcing local officials to improvise a way to keep it on the map. Capitalizing on its reputation for being a UFO hotspot, it turned out was the ideal solution. Walking through the town, it's not difficult to see how the subject has influenced things. UFOs are everywhere, from alien-themed bus stops to UFO-shaped street lamps. And there's even a full-on statue of an alien, perfect for tourist photo opportunities. The local museum, known as UFO Foriacan, is home to all manner of UFO-themed attractions, including books, photographs, and other resources designed to intrigue and amuse. Last year, in honor of the museum's 30th anniversary, there was an extensive celebration in the form of a festival attended by enthusiasts decked out in their finest alien costumes. Wow, they're cashing it in. Whether this will all be enough to revitalize the town's flagging economy, however, remains to be seen. Well, they give us one photo, and it's, I guess, a mothership house or something. I don't know. But that's cool. I'd like to see it. If I was heading to Japan, I'd go check it out.
Definitely.
We could do a live stream from there, Sheldon, couldn't we?
Oh, that'd be fun. Yes.
All right, we'll look into it in the distant future for the Paranormal Portal. All right, so there you go. There's a hot spot in every country, though. I mean, there's hot spots all over the U.S. as well. So, well, if you want to maybe see one, you got to go to the hot spots. You go to where they might be popping up. I don't know if we covered a version of this on the last show or not, but we're going to cover it again. I don't remember reading it, but we might be. Because here's unexplained-mysteries.com. I guess it's from the 23rd, so no, it wasn't from last show. This is brand new. Alien mothership could be watching us with probes, researchers suggest. Avi Loeb and Sean Kirkpatrick discussed the possibility of such a scenario in their recent paper on the subject of UFOs. Good, it's not too long. It says, entitled Physical Constraints on Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, the paper, which is still undergoing peer review, examines the alleged movements and capabilities of unexplained objects cited by U.S. Navy pilots off the coast of the United States. Its authors are certainly no strangers to UFOs. Loeb is an astrophysicist who's been heavily involved in the search for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, while Dr. Kirkpatrick is the director of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. In a previous story about their paper, we reported that they had concluded that the alleged capabilities of highly maneuverable objects spotted by the U.S. Navy pilots are so extreme that the sheer friction involved should have produced a visible fireball as well as a corresponding radio signature that could be picked up on radar. Now it seems as though the pair have also been looking into the idea that an extraterrestrial mothership passing through our solar system could be released a number of smaller probes designed to enter the Earth's atmosphere and study us without our knowledge. Well, they're not hiding them real well, are they?
No.
Interstellar meteorite impacts inspired me to consider the possibility that an artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth. An operational construct not too dissimilar from NASA missions, Loeb told Live Science. These dandelion seeds could be separated from the parent craft by the tidal gravitational force of the sun or by maneuvering capability. In the paper, Loeb and Kirkpatrick suggest that these probes could reach Earth and enter our atmosphere without being detected by astronomers. It's also possible, given the amount of time that it would take to travel vast distances through space, that the civilization from which the mothership originated might not even exist anymore. Oh, that's kind of sad, isn't it? It's still doing its job, but nobody's watching the monitor back home. Isn't it? Sheldon, are you there? Am I there? Are you there, Sheldon? Did we lose him? What is going on? Are you guys hearing me? What happened to you?
Hello?
Yeah, there you are.
Hello?
There you are. What happened?
I don't know. I was hearing you and I was responding.
Oh, you were frozen solid. Okay. That might have been that
I
presence.
see that video now.
What one? What video?
I see.
Huh?
On YouTube. on YouTube.
Oh, okay. You're seeing it on video. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Sheldon, hello? Did you hear the article?
No, I was listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, there you go. All right. Well, glad to have you back. I thought I lost you. I was looking to make sure I'm still connected. It said Sheldon is frozen. Sheldon muted. Yes, we can hear you. Okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate the feedback. All right. Yeah, we did have a problem, but it looks like we've worked it out, Wonder Woman. Glad you're still here, Sheldon, because we got more news to go. And that news has to do with...
Hello?
Huh?
Hello?
What's going on with you, dude?
I don't know.
Do you want to disconnect and reconnect?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. My video feed's spazzing out.
Yeah, it really is. I'm not sure what's going on, but it looks like my connection's golden, so it's gotta be you.
Okay.
All right, just join me back when you can.
I'll reconnect.
Okay. Yeah, it was lagging out something huge. Even from, there's always a bit of a lag where his camera appears on the production end, because I don't know why Skype to the other OBS that I use, there's, I don't know, some kind of processing delay that's happening. But looks like he might be back now. There he is. Are you back? Hello?
I think so. Am I back?
Yeah, it looks like you're back.
Hello?
Okay.
Okay.
We'll go with that for now, but if you have more trouble, you might have to restart your computer or something. Here's another big news story. I was really excited about this one. This one just came out yesterday, it looks like. But I've been under this impression, and I think they're wrong still, but they're more right than they used to be. And what I'm saying is this article coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, extinction of the Tasmanian tiger has been moved up to the late 1990s. So how about that? They've actually went from I think this one was from the 20s or something, this image from the last one in captivity, and then they thought they were just gone. Maybe it was the 40s or whatever, or the 30s it says. But reports of people seeing these things still has been coming in, so I don't know. I think they're still around. I think they're still out there. But they probably got sick of being shot, so they got a lot more skittish than maybe they would have been. But researchers now believe that the extinction of the thylacine occurred much more recently than the 1930s. Officially thought to have gone extinct almost a century ago, the thylacine or Tasmanian tiger is a distinctive carnivorous marsupial native to Australia and Tasmania and New Guinea. Sporadic reports of alleged thylacines in the wild, however, have continued even to the present day, leading many researchers to believe that reports of its demise may have gone greatly exaggerated. Now a new investigation into the disappearance of the thylacine, led by researchers at the University of Tasmania, has concluded that there's enough evidence to suggest that the species did not disappear entirely in the 30s and that it likely held on, or at least until the late 1990s. To reach this conclusion, the team looked at over 1,200 sightings from over decades sourced from government outlets, newspaper archives, museums, contemporary correspondence, and more. By creating a detailed curated database of these sightings, the researchers were able to determine that the thylacine was likely to have survived much longer than official records suggest. The new tentative extinction date in the 1990s reflects these findings. The likelihood that the thylacine never went extinct at all, however, remains extremely low. Well, again, I don't buy that either. I mean, there aren't people out in the woods all the time. We visit the woods, we visit the wild places. And I know there's lots of researchers and trail cams and other traps out there to look for evidence of these things. But still, I don't think there's a ton of them around. But I don't think they're gone yet either, though. I mean, Ken Rotman swears he saw one. Dean Harrison said he believes he saw one.
Oh, yeah, Dean did.
Yeah, those are sightings that, have been related directly to me. And, these are both people that I would believe. So is it possible they're still out there? Absolutely. We've been finding these extinct species more and more commonly lately. And, I just don't think we know as much as we think we know. I think these things just learned to really stay away from people for the most part. That's the way to survive longer, they figured, and they were right. Because I think the thylacine pelts were the big thing, the stripes, people wanted them for any number of things, which is sad and tragic, but that things would get smoked just for their hair, but it's the way of the world, I guess, the way of human beings. So anyway, that's new news, and it's, I guess, at least they're more, it brings it a lot more current. And so the possibility that there's still some surviving members becomes more reasonable in the scientific mind if they're going to move up the extinction date to the 90s. Well, that's just a couple decades ago. There could still be little pockets of these things all over. You never know. We'll see, though.
Maggie brings up a good point.
What's that?
That there are places inaccessible to humans, and how much space can a few people with access realistically cover to know for sure?
Yes, exactly. And if they are as skittish of people, any smell of people, including our technology, I'm sure they become, skittish of. They're aware of it. These animals have a lot keener senses than we do. Both hearing, smell, and probably sight. So they can probably see us coming miles away and then get hidden. And you could walk right by them. I'm sure I've seen footage from Dean and his team when they're out doing their research with AYR in Australia. And some of those areas are thick and impossible, but they still trudge through them. My hat's off to them. But, if there can be Yowies and Bigfoot, there can certainly be thylacine out there. That, and we know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that thylacines existed, and possibly much more recently than what was originally thought. Moved from a century to a couple decades. That's a huge move.
That's what I was going to.
That's what you were going to
say. That's a. What?
Uh-oh. You're jumpy.
Hello?
You're jumpy again. I'm still not sure what you said.
Oh no. Well, I was going to say the same thing. Is that from the 1920s all the way to the 90s? That is a huge jump.
Yeah, well, the 30s from the 90s, but yeah.
Oh, 30s. Okay.
But still, that's only 10 years difference.
Yeah. So
that's kind of good news, I think. I think that's great news. Here's kind of a, I don't know. This is interesting. It just shows you the value of things, how different it is nowadays versus before. And this is from Sky News. This is, woman sells home she's lived in for 102 years, which her family bought for 200 pounds. So 102 years ago, they bought the house for 200 pounds. Don't you wish you could find a house for 200 pounds, Sheldon?
Oh,
that's,
oh God, yes.
That's, probably 350 pounds or $350. But anyway, a 104-year-old woman is selling the home she moved into age 2, having lived in it through the Second World War, the invention of television, and the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. A 104-year-old woman is selling the house. Yeah, I read that already. But her family bought it for 200 pounds. Nancy Joan Gifford was born months after the end of the First World War and spent 102 years living in a 3-bedroom house in Somerset Village of Street. I don't know what the hell that means. But she's now putting it on the market, having lived in it through the Second World War, the invention of television, and the discovery of King Tut's tomb. Her family bought the house for 200 pounds in 1921 and is now priced at 169,950 pounds. According to the Bank of England inflation calculator, 200 pounds in 1921 would be worth 7,750 pounds today. That's still, it was a steal, right? Everyone was happy. Miss Gifford's son, John, 79, still lives in Street. I guess that's the name of the place, is Street. Okay. He said, when I was a youngster, there were so many lovely families that lived along the road, and we all knew each other. The times we had as children were fantastic, going across the fields, jumping over ditches, bird nesting, and swimming in the rivers. So many things children don't do these days. Yeah. It's a different world for sure. Back in those days, most children our age knew everybody, and we all had an open house, and it was fine to leave your house on the latch, and we were all poor, but everyone was happy. According to the estate agent, the house was built in 1882 and originally featured a communal well for the entire road. When Miss Gifford moved in as a 2-year-old, the toilet and wash area was exposed to the elements, and a tin bath hung on the wall outside. The area has since been covered and had a new kitchen installed, but much of the house remains the same. Miss Gifford is selling the house and moving to a nursing home in nearby Glastonbury because of her health. Aw, well, that's pretty amazing. There's the picture of the house. That must be the kitchen that's shooting off the back. But yeah, that's amazing. 200 pounds to 169,000 pounds. That's a pretty good investment there. Good for her. I mean, she looks good for her age, for 104 years old. Jeez.
No kidding. Yeah.
That's amazing. Good for her. What is the secret to her longevity?
Bacon.
Bacon. Might be bacon. We don't know for sure, but I guess we can try it and see if it works. All right.
Yeah,
so
why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly. Let's get to the next one and the last one for our newscast tonight. It's kind of going a little long, isn't it? Sorry. I didn't know it was going to go this long. Maybe I'll save this one.
I'm enjoying it.
You're enjoying it? We'll get a lot more to enjoy, though. So actually, I'm going to close the news here, folks, because there's a lot more to get to. We got a lot more to get to, and the next one's not really as paranormal anyway. So let's get back to the regularly scheduled show, and we'll continue our journey into the Paranormal Portal. A little bit of feedback there.
Oops. Yeah.
That wasn't an oops. I did it on purpose. I opened up my
Oh.
I opened up my earbud next to the microphone just to see. And for sure enough, it fed back.
I gasped.
A gasp. All right, let me pull up the chat so I can see it now. Anything we missed? Nothing yet. That's really cool. That house is that old. Yeah, it is. Pretty cool for sure. I used to live in a house that was built in 1894. I owned, and I love that house. It was a beaut. Remember that, Sheldon?
What's that?
You sound like you're drunk. Was that?
Oh, no.
No, you're fine now. It just had a little blip. But the 3rd Street house that we lived on, that was pretty old.
Yeah, it was. That's true.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What the hell? Now you got the moon behind you.
That's where I'm streaming from.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it. That explains everything. Sheldon is actually on the Paranormal Portal base, which is on the moon, and keeping an eye on things from there. But apparently our satellite feed is lagging, so we'll have to deal with that as best we can. Raising the production value of the portal, Sheldon. Nice job. All right, so
that's right.
We got a lot more to get to, folks. I guess we should probably move to the next segment, which is having to do with our Discord. And, of course, the Discord community is...
oh, God.
What?
It's just, you probably shouldn't have me read tonight.
No, I don't think I'll have you read tonight. No, we may never get through the question of the week. But that brings it up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the question of the week. Yeah, Maggie said, Wonder Woman. No, wait, who said it? Oh, Maggie did. Don't be mooning, though. Okay. Yeah.
Too late.
The only moon we want to see is in the background, Sheldon.
That's fine.
Don't need a double cheeker tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to
I'm on the dark side of the moon. Aha!
It's all dark. It's all dark. It's funny you should say that. Look at my shirt. Pink Floyd, From the Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh! It all full circle.
Full circle. Yep, it all wrapped it up nice and tightly. So, there we go. There needed to be a rim shot from all that, but yeah. Moon River, yep, wider than a mile. Amen. So is this segue into the question of the week. It's wider than a mile too. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we do a question of the week here on the Paranormal Portal, and that is having to do with our Discord community. Sheldon, did you have that link? Can you at least do that part?
I can at least do that, yeah.
Okay, good. Sheldon will post a link to our Discord community. And basically, it's kind of our continuation of the chat here on YouTube. It's just a place where you guys can go hang out, talk all the paranormal fun and wonder that you want to, post links, check out people's links they posted. There's new segments on there. I see that you put up, Sheldon, the Paranormal Library and paranormal movies or television, and that was a good idea. So nice job that you can post your favorite television or movies dealing with the paranormal, and there's also a library, and I'll show you on screen what this looks like. And here is the Paranormal Portal. Excuse me, that was a throat burp. It wasn't even actually burp, it was kind of a gurgle. But
sounded juicy.
Thanks. Well, been saving it for a while. Glad you enjoyed it. Okay. All right. So anyway, this is the Discord community. Here's all the chat threads over here. And got tutorials, questions of the week, general, Bigfoot, Dogman, Ghost, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, music, which is always good, and strange phenomena, paranormal library, and paranormal movies and TV. And then there's some voice chats down here if you wanted to talk in person rather than typing. That's always an option if you guys choose to use that. I've never seen it used, but it could work. I'm sure it works. Didn't we try it, Sheldon? Did we test it?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah,
it does work.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
All right, very good. Yeah, keep your messages, your answers brief. That'll work best. All right, so anyway, the object is before every live stream here on YouTube, we ask a question to you guys, the Discord community out there, what you guys think. And those of you in chat, if you hear the question and want to respond, just do it in chat, but at least do it in all capitals or something so that it can be seen easier, or put Paranormal Portal at the front of it so it creates the orange box that I can see easier. So, question of the week for the Friday show, and special thanks to my cousin Paul, who I was talking to last night as I was formulating this. In recent years, we have witnessed a transition of the government's position in terms of UFOs/UAPs being acknowledged to some degree. This is in complete contrast to prior positions where these topics were dismissed and pretty much mocked openly. Do you think this increased transparency is due to the desire to reveal more of the phenomena to the public, or perhaps mislead our understanding of these phenomena and create a more adversarial position to these visiting intelligences? So, meaning, do you think that they're being altruistic in this? Like, hey guys, okay, we're going to let you see. This is what we found. We don't know. Or are they going to say, yeah, these are really acting suspicious and they're a threat? And, I think that kind of answers itself given some of the press releases on this. But Paradox Fossils was the first one to weigh in. He says, I think the intelligence beings have far more control and influence over us all in such a way that it would create a mass panic if everyone knew without being able to perceive from a spiritual perspective that we are not what we think we are. But I understand that argument. It's like, oh, does that threaten religion or any religion, whether it's Islam, Judaism, Hindu, Buddhists, Christianity? And I would say absolutely not, because these systems of belief were formulated from a human experience. And so I think that they're all inspired by the divine, and as such, the divine spoke to these people and gave them a system of belief that they could hang on to and could relate to. But it doesn't in anywhere imply that this was it. There's nothing else. There can't be anything else, because if God created the entire universe, what's to say he didn't create other intelligences in other places and also, appear to them or make his presence known to them and teach them a similar message or system? And I don't see why not. I just think that we didn't have a cosmic view when these religions were born. We had a very earth-centric view, and very, very much in the regions that people lived. And so it doesn't negate the idea that God is bigger and could have done so much more than we know about. In speaking in biblical terms, I think it was the book of John, there are many things which Jesus did which were not written, and even the world itself could not contain the books. Well, this is just talking about the workings of Christ. How much bigger is God? How much more is the whole of God's experience? And so, I appreciate what you're saying. And I know some people are concerned about those kind of things, like, well, it might invalidate religion if people had this idea that there was, so much more. And I think no, if anything, it shows the more universal presence of this incredible divine mind rather than just an earth-centric presence. So just my 2 cents, but I appreciate that, and thank you for weighing in on that. K-Love says, hold on. There we go. I heard almost 3 years ago that the government had a treaty with an alien race, and it's now expired. Therefore, aliens are now in process of taking back the Earth. I think that the government can no longer hide what's to come, so they are allowing things to drip out in hopes that the panic will be soft until the end of humanity happens. I think the show called American Horror Story Season 10 sums it up. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think that it's probably speaking about the Eisenhower Accords, which the Greada Treaty essentially is known as, and it's allegedly a meeting between President Eisenhower and some aliens near Area 51 or at Area 51, where he allegedly entered into agreements with technology for them to have the green light to test on a certain amount of citizens. And I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I know that that's the claim. I don't know if there was an expiration date on that or not. I just couldn't possibly know. But I appreciate your input, and thank you for that. I have not watched the American Horror Story double feature Death Valley Part 2, but maybe there's something of merit in there. But thank you for the comment. Chad Votaw says, I think it's both. They tell some truth alongside with disinformation, and I think that's the end game of it. They want us to perceive them as a threat so they can carry out their agenda. Yeah, it could very well be, Chad. You could be absolutely right. Shepherdess says, all I can guess is that if the government begins addressing or admitting something publicly, they are already probably 10 steps ahead about something else that we don't have a clue about. Yeah, that's for sure. Good point. And she goes on to say, not a fan of giving the bureaucracy that much credit, but I also have been often surprised at the amount of secrecy that exists. Yeah, you wouldn't think it would. And that's the big thing that a lot of people say. It's like, oh, you think we're keeping so many secrets, but listen, these are people and people don't keep secrets well. But I think if your life is threatened, you probably keep a pretty good secret, Opal Demetria says the government's soft disclosure on UFO UAP existence is likely due to increased public interest and pressure for transparency. While the government has previously denied the existence of UFOs, the mounting of reports and sightings by military personnel and civilians have made it difficult to ignore. The soft disclosure allows the government to acknowledge the existence of these phenomena without causing widespread panic and alarm. We have to remember that where most of us feel we are ready for full disclosure and won't have a meltdown, it's not a guarantee other people will take it smoothly. Assuming the government knows exactly what's going on, or how do we know for sure, it won't hit us hard in ways we wouldn't expect. People have speculated so much of what's going on, it's become a little muddy, and every single one of these theories could be way off. Yeah, exactly. Good point. Getting all the answers to something could be a shock to the system, especially if it's something you don't want to hear or believe. On a positive note, I do like the fact that the tables have been turned on those who continue to say UFOs don't exist. These people are crazy. I think you're right. I think it's wonderful. I always like when skeptics get their one up. And it's not because I think they deserve to get, brutalized by the truth. But at the same regard, I don't think anybody has the ability to say what is and what isn't. I just think the only one that could possibly say that is, the divine itself. Everything else is, relatively possible, I think. Doesn't mean we can get our head around everything that is suggested or implied, but, it doesn't mean that it's, impossible. So I appreciate all those responses. Fourth caller says, yeah, it's a tough question. It's hard to trust anything the corrupt government has to say publicly. The cynical side of me says they're playing into it for their own reasons, but maybe not. Time will tell, I suppose. Yeah, I agree. I mean, of course, that's always, I think in a lot of our minds, it's like, what are they doing? Why? Because it doesn't seem like these things happen often by accident. Things are leaked because they want them leaked, there's a reason that the New York Times has a new inside information on things when nobody else should. And it's because they were given that information. So Luna Moonicorn says, I think that to get to the point where they can't deny it anymore, they had to disclose something to the public. I think the pressure to disclose something was motivated by money. They want funding for their secret projects and had to appease the senators asking for info. So we get a breadcrumb of what they have to the senators and get a couple more crumbs. And they continue to have the ridiculously large budget for black projects. I hate to be cynical, but it's making the public fearful or worried about this is good motivation for getting approval for military spending. Yeah, you're right. I think that's a fair take on that for sure. Oh, got a cough. I was hoping you were lagging out. We have a call as soon as I'm done with this, so hold on.
Okay.
You're not helping when you're doing that. I just want to put that out there. Scorpzian says, through my ongoing research, I've come to current understanding that the government and military are aware of UFO UAPs, quite possibly have technology and are in contact. With that in mind, factions exist within our government and military around the world. Call them what you will. I call the white hats and the black hats. My research suggests that they are both benevolent and malevolent entities, and a battle is going on for what directional path the Earth will go. I believe that the current reason we are seeing more disclosure is because a possible false flag black swan event may occur in which the black hats will fake an alien invasion to either a last resort or a continuation of the current events of warmongering. This could possibly be another part of the plan. To continue the agenda of pushing in the world to a one world government of total power and control of the people. It continues to be more of a fear porn than we have all been experiencing. Yeah, I would almost agree with that. I mean, I don't pretend to know what is the agendas going on. I've heard all of these things as well. And there could be legitimacy to them, and there maybe isn't. I don't know, but I'm not that globally aware or educated, or even on politics and intrigue and new world orders and stuff like that. I hear about these things, but I just don't know much to really have a valued opinion. But again, the caller's still there. 4 minutes. We're doing okay. Rachel says, I think it's a subtle form of misleading. The government defines has people highly educated in psychology. Yeah, that's for sure. Everything's feels like a psyop, really. Ways to mislead the public can be quite subtle. One of the best ways to control a group of people, the public, is to argue with them to show a certain narrative, or agree with them, rather. This placates the public so that they see the government as a friend, someone they can believe will come round to telling the whole truth, when in actuality it's a half-truth. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Just here and there says smoke and mirrors. Maybe. Could very well be. I know that these things are real. I've seen them, so I don't think that part's the smoke and mirrors. But what is the government doing? Smoke and mirrors? Yeah.
I like the half truth of what Rachel was saying, that like they're saying, oh, it's a UFO. We don't know what this is, but this is what we're seeing in the the videos released.
Yeah.
Where it's like the truth is they probably know exactly what's happening to some degree. I'm not saying they know they have all the information. Maybe they don't, but I think they have more than they lead on, of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're not going to give us the whole truth for sure. I mean, they're just going to give us a little chunk, a little nugget. But I will tell you that at least acknowledging those Tic Tac craft and that we don't know what they are, they're doing things they shouldn't be able to do, and they're defying physics as we understand it, was actually a hugely liberating statement. Because it changed the barrier between normal people and tinfoil hats to people that don't believe, people that do believe, and there's some people in the middle. So it took away the extreme narrative of, oh, those people are loopy. They think there's aliens visiting. That used to be the whole deniability about it. It's like, really, there's green men coming. They could just dismiss it outright, and nobody else wanted to be in that club of the weirdos, so they just went along with it. But I think secretly for a long time, many people had their doubts or beliefs, and when those Tic Tac craft videos came out, it really did start a brand new narrative on the subject, and I think that's important. But I think it's also important to watch that narrative closely to make sure it doesn't get spun into political agenda, into military agenda, into everything else. That's the danger of it, because as one poster in there said, it's just an excuse for more black budget money. And yeah, I could see that definitely being a problem.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think already we're spending more on military and development than the next 9 or 11 countries combined.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, they probably got enough money. Or if they need more, they should probably start selling cookies or something, because there's not much more to give them. They're like getting the lion's share as it is. So I think they should start thrift sales or something.
Don't you mean the wolf's share?
Yeah. I see what you did there, Mandela boy. All right, so those were great responses, and thank you so much. We're going to get to this call here quick and see just what this is. So let's get to the phone. Oops. We're not really done, but I'll let it play out. Okay, let me turn that off so I don't inadvertently do that through the whole show. All right, let's get to our call and find out who we're talking to. This is area code 613. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. How are you, gentlemen?
We're good, I think. I'm good anyway. Yeah. I think Sheldon's good too. So how are you? Who are we talking to?
My name is Jason. I'm a absolute fan of you guys. Been here forever.
Oh, cool.
I actually sent Brent. I actually sent a email regarding a dogman encounter. But I didn't want to actually say anything about it.
Okay, yeah.
Online.
Sure.
For everybody to hear.
Okay.
A little shy.
Yeah.
Anyways, so my brother and I, we went to Algonquin Park. This is in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest parks in Canada, and so we were hiking, and we went to a place.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me if I'm
No, you're doing great. Just
being yeah, okay.
Just take your time, man.
Anyway, we went. There was a okay. So we were on a hill, and looking down, we saw a pack of wolves.
Uh-huh.
They're called Algonquin wolves, or timber wolves.
Uh-huh.
And they're huge.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was about, I'd say about, I don't know, 15 of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah. And so they got actually, okay, so there's 15 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that the smaller of the pack went into the forest.
Okay.
And then these wolves, there's 3 wolves, and they actually stood up. They literally stood up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so my brother and I, we had our binoculars, and we're like, oh my God, like what? These wolves are actually standing up.
Oh man.
And we looked through the binoculars, and they were they're like sniffing. They were like sniffing.
Oh.
And they were showing their teeth, and like they literally they were like smelling us. And so like what happened is that the other wolves, they were just Algonquin wolves, okay?
Okay.
And these ones were completely differential.
Okay.
They literally stood up. I swear to God, they literally stood up, and they were like showing their teeth, and they were like sniffing. I don't know if they're sniffing us,
right,
or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother and I were like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So let's like, because we were on our bellies.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Navy, by the way.
Okay.
The Canadian Navy, and so we were scoping them, we were glassing them, and we're like, man, we got to get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Because these things, and by the way, whenever they stood up, they were about 9 feet tall. I
Wow.
can estimate 9 feet tall. Yeah.
Were they a lot bigger than the other wolves?
I'm sorry?
When they were down on all fours, were they bigger than the other wolves that were around?
They absolutely were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. They were bigger than the other wolves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They totally were. So I think that they joined that pack.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. That's literally all I have to say.
Well, did you get a look at
the most insane thing in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a look at the hands? I mean, did they have paws or did they have hands like ours? Did you notice or didn't you notice?
You know what? I actually didn't notice. I actually didn't notice.
Sure.
But they stood up like a human. They stood up,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like darling. And the rest of the pack, the much smaller pack, went into the woods.
Mm.
And so obviously, like, these guys, I mean, I think they smelled something. Maybe they smelled us.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, at Algonquin Park, like, there's a lot of, like, really, really crazy stuff that happens there.
Okay.
There's Sasquatches.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that actually like leave there.
Sure.
They're like, okay, so we saw Sasquatch. Like, the park rangers.
Uh-huh.
Literally, you can Google it. They actually, like, quit because they saw Sasquatch there.
Oh.
So there's a lot of really, really weird stuff going on over there.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's intense.
Anyway,
When they were standing up, did their legs look like people legs or were they bent? Did they have the backwards? Well, it's actually the ankle, but you know how a dog or
you know what? No. It's like their elbows.
Yeah.
Were like, it's like they had, like, elbows that are, like, reversed.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Because you hear from both types,
And,
and that's amazing.
Yeah, and they were the only black ones in the pack. Okay.
Wow.
So and then we're glassing them. We're glassing them with our binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
And they were standing up, and they were showing their teeth.
Oh.
And they were smelling. They were, like, smelling, like, God forbid they were smelling us, but yeah, but they were smelling something. So I think that they were actually, like, smelling us.
Yeah.
And so we literally crawled.
Yeah. I would too.
Yeah. We literally crawled back. We're like, man, we're out of here.
Oh.
Because it was the most insane thing in the world. And I don't know if you guys know Les Stroud.
Yeah, I know. I don't know him personally.
Yeah. He's had Bigfoot experiences at that same very park, Algonquin Park.
Wow.
Anyway,
That's
listen, man.
intense.
I'm sorry. Like, I know that I'm not being eloquent enough right now.
You're doing great, brother.
But,
I mean,
You're doing great. Yeah.
no, you did fine.
Yeah. No,
Don't.
I feel bad. Like
No, don't. I love that you decided to call in and share this because I do remember the email, but I also appreciate that some people don't want to be coming out and sharing their stories. But so to me, it takes an incredible amount of courage to do this, and I'm honored that you chose to. So, So thank you for doing it. And I mean, I just love that you wanted to share this with people because, I didn't take the liberty to share it for you. So I'm glad that you did it for yourself. And for sure, and that's why I sent a lengthy email to you. I apologize. There's a train going by. Oh no, I can't even hear it.
But I know, like, because you know, I feel bad for like I just, you know, I don't like talking in public, and I know there's people.
No, everybody in the chat's really
Perhaps to
supportive.
be criticizing me.
Everybody in the chat's been really supportive. Like, yeah, just act like you're talking to your best friend, you know, and people are offering you tips, but no,
you guys are great, man. And I love you guys. But I had to actually do that because this was real, and this was the most how do I explain it? This was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. And my brother, and I swear to God, and I'm a Christian, and I swear to God, I actually saw this.
Yeah, I believe
these dogs got up. This wolf got up. These wolves got up.
Yeah,
and they were way bigger than the other pack.
Yeah. Wow.
Like literally like 9 to 10 feet. Like that's honestly.
Enormous. That's terrifying.
And like when you see something like that,
I can imagine. How far away do you think they were? How far from you were they?
I'm sorry. I'd say about give it a good like a football field.
Oh, so that's still pretty close. Wow. I'm glad you got out of there when you did. That's terrifying.
And they were down. They were like down. Like we were up.
Yeah.
And they were down in like a just like a meadow or whatever. Like we were just higher than them.
Well, thank
God.
We
were on a
that's intense. Yeah. Very intense. And you know, I know that people that see these things generally aren't harmed, but they do sometimes get extraordinarily intimidated. Like these things kind of seem to take a pleasure in really terrorizing people once they know they're there. So I think you got out at just the right time, because I don't think that would have gotten any better for you if you'd stuck around.
Oh, for sure. And like it was crazy because the other wolves, they just like straight up went back into the forest.
Mm-hmm.
But the bigger ones, which I'm assuming they're the alphas.
Mm-hmm.
They literally stood on 2 legs.
Yeah.
And they were like looking around.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. And we literally like crawled away.
Yeah.
We crawled about 15 feet away, and then we literally ran.
Yeah.
Probably like a mile back to our campsite.
Wow.
And then we left the very next day.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they didn't find you and track you back and stuff. So, I mean, of all the sightings to have, that's a pretty good one, because it was at a distance. You were able to absolutely observe that they were much bigger and behaved much differently than normal wolves. And I'm sure you saw the Dogman, brother. Three of them. And
yeah, for sure. Like we were like way up above them.
Sure.
And they were on a meadow, if you will.
Sure.
Down there.
Yeah.
And they fucking, it was, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
all right.
sorry. I apologize for I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries. But yeah, I think it's.
And they were there, and then, as I had mentioned before, boom, like 15 of them, I'm assuming 15 of them went into the forest, and then the 3 or 4
stuck around,
stood up, and they were black.
Yeah.
The actual wolves were gray.
Okay.
And these guys were black.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you made it, brother. That's amazing. And I'm honored that you chose to call in yourself and do this. So thank you for doing that, man. It's great to have a chance to meet you in person and to hear your story firsthand. That's always incredible. So thank you. I'm really thrilled you called in.
I'm not the and I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not the best speaker.
No, you did fine.
I'm just not the best speaker. You know what I mean? Like,
That's okay.
I feel, especially like I feel like the eyes and ears on me right now.
Yeah. Well, there is
but I do love your show.
Oh,
I love your show.
Thank you.
And I always watch you guys like nonstop.
Oh, cool.
And I had to, like I gave you the email.
Yeah.
But and then you requested me to like call you, but like I feel like I feel bad about calling you guys.
Nope.
But anyway,
I love that you did. I seriously and sincerely do enjoy most talking to people that have had these experiences. I think there's nothing, it's nothing short of both terrifying and amazing. And it's best for our listeners to hear it from you. So
it literally was the most insane thing that I've ever seen. My brother and I talk about it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, be careful.
I mean,
go ahead.
Here's
Sheldon.
the thing too, is that like you have this incredible story, and you came on with all these people listening and watching to you, and you got the whole story out. So you got to give yourself a lot of credit for that.
Sure.
You called in and you did it. So you should pat yourself on the back for that. It's not an easy thing to do.
No. Well, thank you so much, man. Because you know what, like. As I had mentioned, I sent a lengthy email, but I just didn't have the guts to call you guys.
Oh.
And but I had to do it because it was literally a paranormal experience.
Yeah, it sure was. Wow.
Yes.
And it ended well. Those are the best stories. The ones that end well are the best stories. But
yeah. When we crawl, we literally crawled backwards.
Yeah.
And then so we're 15 feet away and then we just ran.
Yeah, I would have too.
We ran.
Wow. You're a brave soul, sir, and thank you again for calling in. It's great to finally have a chance to talk with you. And if anything else happens or if you have any other stories, feel free to call in. I'd love to talk to you again.
All right. Thank you, sir, man. I really appreciate you guys.
Aww.
And, man, I watch you guys all the time. I listen to you guys all the time. I'm a long-time listener.
Oh,
and I love what you do, and that's it.
All right, brother. Well, thanks again. Take care, Jason, and my best to you and your brother, and be safe out there.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, sirs.
All right.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye now.
See ya.
All right. Take care.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, it does take a bit of courage to come on and do it. And it, I remember people saying that a long time ago. I was nervous to call in, and I was like, God, I'm just an idiot sitting here in an extra bedroom with a microphone, It's different, but I understand, because we are broadcasting and people are out there listening, and not everybody's a public speaker, but just wonderful to have you guys call in when you can. And you did great, Jason. You did just fine. Don't wrestle with yourself about it. It was marvelous. I'm really thrilled you called in, and I'm sincerely honored anytime any of you call in and want to share something you've been in, experienced. Hey, Father Mike, good to see you, brother. Sheldon, you want to do shout outs?
Yes, since my moon connection's going well. Yeah, I think we will.
Yep. The satellite uplink is working good since you're on the moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do. If you want to shout out, be sure to say something in the chat so that Sheldon sees your name listed, because it does. If you have chatted but not in a while, the name disappears from the active list, and that's all we get. So, yeah, go ahead.
Well, first off, we have Father Mike Driscoll here. We have John Stevenson, John Temprine, Luna Moonicorn, Maggie M10, Ninja Dave 1970, Opal, you're here, Nina's here, Rachel Gets It Right's here, Wonder Woman's here, Kay Love's here, and Elaine Clifford's here, of course, and Clayton Blackwell, and anyone else? I think that's all we got for now.
All right.
And Justin Good Earth.
Oh, Justin, good to see you, brother.
Yes.
Justin's been a long time friend of the show. Don and I have met him at a few different conferences. A great guy. Justin is one of those guys he's like scary smart. He really is. He's the most down-to-earth guy, but the guy is so smart. He can just talk to you on an end about things like geology and rocks and just many, many things. I've always been blown away by Justin. So it's good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping back in. We've missed you. But we've got more. But wait, there's more. We're at 8:30 already, Sheldon. What the hell happened? How did we get to 8:30? It's so weird. But we are at 8:30, so I guess we should get to the cryptid corner, right?
Oh, I think so.
We definitely should. I've got some articles here from Sasquatch Chronicles listener emails that were sent in. I love reading these, and I'm really, really thrilled that Wes, it's always given us the green light to do this, because the thing is that the Sasquatch Chronicles blog is a fantastic site in and of itself, just even separate from the Sasquatch Chronicles shows, both members and the public ones, because there's so much more information on there as well. There's things that he just couldn't make every email into a show. He just would have literally thousands and thousands of shows and not enough time to, do his whole life, I guess. But it's nice that we can air those here as well, these listener emails, because they're very powerful. And some of them, they aren't as robust experiences as others, but they're still profound. I've always said the thing with any of this stuff is everything doesn't have to be a Hollywood version. Like, you don't have to have doors slamming and get out and, furniture moving in your house for it to be a worthy haunting. I've certainly heard those stories. And one was actually, one of the most profound was from my cousin Paul, which you can find on the podcast. It's a haunting in Michigan if you get a chance. And it's posted here on YouTube as well on the podcast episodes. But so many stories are much more subtle than that. I saw a figure standing in my room at night, and then I turned on the light, it was gone. And that might be the only thing, but that's still amazing. I was sitting in the table and my glass moved, and I watched it move. And there was no, it wasn't just water condensation. Something dragged my glass across the table. And that's it. But that's amazing. So I don't require, throughout the whole course of the show that we only get these incredibly hyperly charged events. I certainly have had those as well, but I enjoy all of them because all of these events are demonstrating something incredibly profound going on in our world, that there's something happening. There's some level of our reality that we're not quite aware of. But it exists around us, and it's a part of our experience, whether we realize it or not. And I think it's really demonstrating the much more robust nature of reality as we understand it. We just don't understand it. So that's why I love all the stories that you guys share and all the stories that I find, because I think they're incredible. Go ahead.
So we have a new listener here. Hi, guys and the ladies. New listener here. Can someone fill me in on what exactly is a dogman?
Oh, sure. What's the name of the new listener?
Sherry Emily.
Hi, Sherry. Nice to meet you. I didn't see your post come up, so I'm sorry. What a dogman is, it's a cryptid, which is just short for cryptozoological creature, or a creature that hasn't been established as fact by science as of yet. So Bigfoot would be a cryptid, dogman, Loch Ness Monster, etc. But what a dogman is, the best way I can describe it, it's a newer term, but for all intents and purposes, if you want to understand what a dogman looks like, most people that have witnessed them, several witnesses have come back and said, my God, it looked just like the werewolves on the Underworld movie. Looked just like that. They were absolutely terrifying. Which is, if you've seen the Underworld movies or other, werewolf dogman stories, or werewolf and that type of movies, that's a pretty good representation for what people are experiencing. They generally have a shorter snout than an actual wolf. It's usually a little more stout, not quite as elongated. They allegedly have like German Shepherd or wolf-like ears. They can either be quadrupedal or bipedal, meaning they can be on all fours or on their two legs only. They don't have paws on their fronts, but they do on their feet. But where their front paws should be are fingers, usually with these elongated, sharp, talon-looking protrusions. And by all intents and purposes, they are absolutely terrifying. And there's shows we've done in the archives about dogmen, but there's lots of other sources out there, like Vic Cundiff does a show, Dogman Encounters, where you can hear a lot of firsthand reports of people that claim to have come face to face with these dogmen. And I don't know if they're as prolific as Bigfoot, but they may be. I've heard differing reports on that. Like maybe there's not as many of them. Maybe there's just as many of them as Bigfoot. But they're absolutely terrifying. Now, I will say that even though they look like werewolves, they seem to act in a very intelligent manner. So they're not just beasts. They seem to be intelligent, maybe close to a Bigfoot, maybe not quite. I don't know. But they are generally don't go out of their way to harm people, but they seem to go out of their way to intimidate the hell out of people. Like where a Bigfoot might see you in its territory and go and hide and lob sticks or nuggets or rocks or whatever, a dogman will just come up like within feet of you and growl and snarl and make you think that you're about to die. And I can't imagine a more terrifying experience. I can't imagine what that would be like, but I can only imagine it's got to be absolutely horrifying. So in a nutshell, that's a dogman. They're kind of a global phenomena as well as the Bigfoot. Like there's reports of dogmen in Australia. There's reports in Europe, old Europe, and maybe that's where the werewolf legends came from. It's hard to say. And they're certainly here in the Americas, Canada, the U.S. Especially, but that's what a dogman is, just in a nutshell, just to bring you up to speed. So I hope that helps, but that's, as I understand it, there's more to it than that. But that's a pretty good representation of so you can visualize what that looks like. So that comes from firsthand witnesses, not from me personally, but that's how I would summarize it for you. So what does this say? Sherry, if you want to kind of ask. Oh, yeah. It does help if you put Paranormal Portal at Paranormal Portal, or even I think if you type Paranormal Portal, it'll give me that orange box without the @ sign, but the @ sign does help. Is there another question?
No, there wasn't.
Okay, gotcha.
But like as you see, Sherry, like when I do it in chat, that should be highlighted for you, and that's what'll happen if you do at Paranormal Portal.
Yeah.
Dad will be able to see that. It'll be highlighted. It'd be hard to miss. So
makes it easier for me to see. I'm generally looking at any one of 3 different screens for different reasons. So I apologize. But anyway, let's get to the Sasquatch Chronicles article. And this is dated March 21st. And again, from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. and it is a huge figure in the ditch. And some of these are shorter, some of them are longer. These are more short today, but a huge figure in the ditch. A listener writes, "Good morning, Wes. I'm from Orange, Texas. About 10 years ago, I had an interesting experience behind my house. I was 12 or 13 when this had happened. I was riding my four-wheeler on a trail that was alongside of a very deep drainage ditch. The trail is over a mile long and backs up to the large area of private land that's used for cattle. About halfway down the trail was where I saw the Sasquatch. The bottom of the trail has lots of cattails and stays pretty wet all the time. While I was riding by and actually passed the spots, I saw it, but I noticed an unusually dark spot within the cattails. On my way back from the end of the trail, I rounded a corner and saw a huge figure on the opposite side of the ditch. It had 1 foot on the bottom of the ditch and 1 hand on the top edge of the ditch. It was caught trying to climb out of the ditch with 1 leg about waist high and the other hand was around the chest area. Well, as I drove by quickly, it never moved to get out of the way or hide. The only part that moved was the head, just enough for me to notice. I was absolutely terrified. I got home as fast as I could, jumped off the four-wheeler before it came to a stop, and cried. I'm not a scared kid. I wasn't a scared kid. I grew up in these woods, daylight to dark. I was outside as much as I could. After this encounter, it was a long time before I was comfortable enough to go back into the woods. The older I got, I started to put certain things together, thinking maybe these creatures were around me more than I was aware. My encounter is something few people know about. My parents and my wife are aware of it, but that's about it. Love your show. It's something that we have started to enjoy a few years ago and don't plan on stopping. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to reach out. You're helping lots of people out with your show, and it's much appreciated." Yeah, there's no question. I think that's pretty powerful. Again, it's just a quick sighting, but I think he's right. I think that when you are in woodlands where these things are, they're well aware of your presence all the time. You know, I mean, that's their home. That's where they live. We visit the woods, but they live there. They know when something's different. Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Plus, we have to have a very distinct scent.
Oh, God. Yeah, especially compared to the natural world, because we have fragrances, we have soaps, we have detergents. We wash our body with all kinds of weird things that are none of them, barely any of them are truly natural things. And even if they are, they're so hyper scented that I'm sure to the animal world, we smell like, like billboards of fragrance.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, for us to be able to smell them, I mean, with their noses, multitudes times more sensitive than ours.
Well, and that's the other part of it. Like, look at the Bigfoot. We don't really understand or know anything about their physiology. We don't know, like, how good is their sense of smell. But I'm willing to bet it's somewhere around canine level. And maybe even more. Like a bear apparently can smell. His sense of smell is like 12 times better than a bloodhound. So.
Oh yeah, they can smell you from miles away.
Right. So I mean, if with the Bigfoot, they have these incredibly wide, more human-like hooded noses, not like primate with the open nostrils. So they have these wide hooded noses, but we don't know what kind of sinus cavities they have. It could be enormous for the size of their heads. So maybe they have an incredibly acute sense of smell. Maybe they have incredibly acute hearing, which I would suggest they probably do, which is another reason I find it really bizarre because this thing could have heard that four-wheeler coming the whole time. Why did it decide to cross when the guy was coming? They're so quick that I'm sure it could have made that whole journey in just a fraction of a second, but it was just maybe they do like to be seen sometimes. Maybe that's kind of a thrill for them. I don't know. It does, because I don't think we can surprise them. I don't think, you're going to sneak up on a Sasquatch. I mean, maybe it can happen if you came over a rise and there was one on the other side and wasn't aware of you and the wind was right. Yeah, I'm sure you probably could. But for the most part, I think they know you're there. And even if they didn't perceive you themselves, they know, like if you're ever in the woods, crows are terrible tattletales.
Yes,
crows will rah, rah, rah. It drives me nuts when I'm out there mushroom hunting and stuff in the forests up here, because they'll holler all day long if you're in the area. It's like, God.
It's a warning. They're literally saying, "Hey."
Yeah, but to who? To who?
That's the question. Also, a bear's sense of smell is 7 times better than a bloodhound's.
Oh,
and
7 times.
2,100 times better than ours.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Imagine if you could smell what they smelled even for just 5 seconds.
Yeah. I should never try to quote statistics directly. I should say several times stronger than ours, or than a bloodhound. I want to, because somebody will correct me with the real knowledge. But I was in the ballpark, 7 to 12. I mean, it's, it's still considerably stronger. So, pharmacy, Brent, you need to make friends with the crows. Seriously, they won't call you out. I've been throwing stuff to my crows around my house, and they still yell. They still yell when I go outside. Give them food. I talk to them. I've tried making friends with them, but all they want to do is, rah, rah. It's like, oh, God. They just love to just make racket. And I love crows. I think they're brilliant. I really do. I think I have a very big affinity. In fact, there's a crow feather here on the mic stand that they dropped for me that I put on my mic stand. I don't know. Is that on camera or no?
I can't see it.
It is now. Yeah. Oh. That's my crow feather that's on my mic stand. And they dropped that for me. So I figured that was a gift. But yeah, I've tried to make friends with them. Tried to get them to settle down. But anyway, they're just noisy. I always collect feathers, by the way. That's one of my things. So yeah. Anyway, that was a good article.
That was. Yeah. That was.
Let's go to the next one. And this is also from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Again, SasquatchChronicles.com, ladies and gentlemen. This one's from March 22nd. This has got to be horrible. Even the title, Looking Right at Me. Oof.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I mean, it's one thing if you see one and it's just kind of doing its thing, but if you see one and it's seeing you, that's, if it was a fair distance away, I'd be kind of excited by that as long as it wasn't too close. If it was really close looking right at me, I'd be really, really uncomfortable. I like to believe that they're generally a peaceful, gentle thing. But I think that there's also some of them out there that are not, But I hope that if I was to have a face-to-face, it would be with one of the nice, gentle ones. But I wonder what it would be like to look into their eyes just to make that connection. I always look people in the eyes, and I always have, because I feel like it helps. It's more than just psychology. Like, it really does create a connection when you look into someone's eyes and they're looking into your eyes. It just feels like you're dialed in. You're just connected in that moment. And what?
It's just, I understand what you're saying, but it's like, I feel like you, no matter how prepared you are, you're going to have an uncontrollable fear if you ever see one and they're looking right at you eye to eye.
Yeah, it almost seems like a genetic memory. Like maybe our ancestors really did some harsh battle with these things back in the day. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, certainly there's tales even from the First Nations about, doing battle with the Siatic or whatever, various names that the different tribes had, the First Nations tribes. But there was some really confrontational, meetings that was not pretty. But there are other tales of them trading and having a relationship of sorts between the two communities. So I think it is possible to have, a connection of sorts with them. I would like to think that they're, there's these wise, gentle beings. They're kind of, the guardians of the forest thing. But I've also certainly heard the horror stories as well. And maybe it's just, again, I get redundant on this because, again, there isn't a whole bunch known. But one thing that seems certain is that they're just like people have a wide spectrum of behavioral emotion. an emotional intelligence. I think that is very possible that they have a wide spectrum of behavioral and emotional intelligence. So perhaps there's real jerks out there and there's really loving ones. So
yeah, but it's like you can't.
No, you don't know.
I understand this. You can't know which one you're meeting. Yeah,
I remember Wes used to say on a show, and maybe he still says this from time to time. I don't get to listen to him as religiously as I once did, but he always said, he said, would you go up and pet a bear or try to touch one? And it's like, well, obviously, no, you wouldn't. And he goes, and one of the things he says is, so why would you think that you'd want to reach out and touch one of these or come in close contact and connect? Because we just really don't know. And that's the scary version of it. And I know that maybe through time and having an extended experience with them over maybe a matter of years, you could get to a point where you could stand in the same space and be peaceful. But I just think that's the dice. You're rolling dice, because we just don't know. And so anyway, let's get to the story. Looking right at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
A listener writes, I live in northeast Oklahoma, and I was deer hunting in October 2006. And it was about 4:30 a.m. and I was walking to my tree stand and noticed a coyote running right at me. Oh, it was dark, but I had a flashlight and I got scared and froze up, but it ran right past me like it didn't even see me standing there. Well, I watched it run off and was thinking about how strange that situation was. And that's when I heard something, sticks breaking and crashing through the woods. I spun around. And there was 3 deer running right at me. Well, I'm freaking out by this point. They ran past me as well. I wondered if a bear had spooked all of them and was closer to my tree stand than I was to my truck. I decided to get down there and get up in the tree stand to figure out what my next step was. I've never smelled anything, but up ahead of me, like 75 yards down the trail, I caught some eye shine, kind of a greenish glow. I froze and my body went numb because these eyes weren't at my level, or they weren't at my level, or it was like something on all fours. They had to be from something at least 7 feet tall, and it was swaying slightly back and forth, but looking right at me. I didn't know what to do but run. So I turned around and ran back up the trail, and that's when I heard a very large growl/grunt. I'm not sure. As I was running, I heard it running kind of off to my left, keeping pace for a short while. As I approached a clearing near my truck, I heard a big crash of some dead trees or some fallen timber. I didn't stop to check it out. Got in my truck and left. Never have been back there. Sorry for the long email. I tried to give you the highlights. Yeah, that's got to be crazy. Ugh.
Well, it's like the intimidation tactic, just keeping pace. You think that thing could not just run him down if it wanted to. It was just like pushing him in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you, there are witnesses that have claimed that they have observed Bigfoot physically running down a deer. And deer move. I mean, if you've ever seen a deer, they have lightning reflexes. They really do, unless you're driving a car with headlights. Then they get stupid. Yeah. But otherwise, they just boom. I mean, even like a gunshot, boom, they're in motion. It's just like there's almost a 0 second delay from sound to reaction. And they're fast. I mean, they're running 35 miles an hour, roughly. So what is that like to see something 8 foot tall, 9 foot tall, running down a deer? And what is it like to see something that big move that fast? And it's got to be just intimidating as hell to see all of that mass moving at all of that velocity. Jeez.
That's the reason why, there will always be that part of me that will, that little part of me that wants to have that experience of seeing one. But then there's that other part of me where it's like, but once you're in that situation, there's no going back. You lost all control in that situation. It is now in control of that entire interaction.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they're masterful at it. They're masterful. Yeah. It's literally psychological warfare. Like they are so good at cranking up the anxiety and keeping it up. They'll like keep it up at 10 for days, and people just can't get comfortable. You can't sleep. You can't get relaxed because you're always on edge. And so it's incredibly psychological. It's incredibly sophisticated. You know, that's why I really believe these things are so intelligent. All right. That was the second one. How are we doing? We've got literally 6 minutes left. Do I have time for this one?
Can you pump out one more?
This one has a sound file attached, but unknown sound recording. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, Sheldon, but we can try. Said for March 22nd, unknown animal sound. A listener writes, this is an audio recording taken on August 16th, 2018 near Kensington, Ohio. It sounds to be like a large animal, although it does not sound like anything familiar. I never saw anything, but if you follow the link above, you can hear a 4-minute recording I took. I was working as a security guard for a pipeline construction project in eastern Ohio. Over the course of about 3 months, I had a lot of secondary evidence and experiences that led me to believe we had a resident squatch. There was a very large rock thrown clean through a shipping container, handprints on the very tops of the shipping containers, a few sightings of a huge dude in a ghillie suit that I had to respond to, along with a few other mysterious incidents. The recording took place sometime in July or August, very late at night, and I heard it from a long ways off and started recording. In the 4 minutes of the recording, this thing went from out of earshot on my right, then crossed my field of hearing to the left and went far enough away in 4 minutes that I couldn't hear it anymore. This thing was hauling through the woods. I spoke to some of the nearby houses, and one of them confirmed hearing this and said they'd never heard anything like that in the woods before. This all took place just east of Minerva, Ohio. Oh, Minerva, that's the area where Seth and Small Town Monsters is. Very interesting. Yeah. All right, well, we can listen to it if you guys are willing. Let's check it out. This is Hop's Head from SoundCloud. Let's have a listen. It is kind of a strange sound, though. It has a kind of a goose quality almost to it.
Yeah.
That's disturbing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I put a link to it in the chat if any of you want to listen to it with your own computer and headphones. Just head over to Sasquatch Chronicles blog, have a listen to it. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy sound. I've never heard another vocalization like that. It's not that I've heard a ton of them, but I've heard a few, and that one seems incredibly unique to me. And I don't mean to imply it was actually a goose, but it has that at the end, like a goose.
Yeah.
But now
it sounds I agree with what people are saying. It sounds metallic too.
Well, that could be the quality of the recorder too. I mean, we don't know what he recorded in. It could be just a really cheap phone recording or because there is a distortion, like, and I don't know if it was exceptionally loud for the person there, and it's maybe made the mic clip, or is it just after condensing it to an MP3 and putting it up on SoundCloud or a WAV file, did that alter some of the dynamics of it? But
Justin says that's what I heard on Mount Hood here in Oregon, but they were longer cries. Sounded like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. Whatever this was, it was apparently moving again from left to right. Now, I do appreciate that in this recording, you can hear the actual vocalization, but you can also hear crickets and things like that seem to give it a level of credibility. Now, is that hard to fake? No. I mean, you can layer audio and create levels and stuff, but
yeah, you could. Yeah.
I don't know. Could be legitimate. Could be, I don't think it's that's just a dog running. That's a bloodhound. Because sometimes bloodhounds, they can sound absolutely bizarre. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they can.
I've heard recordings of them, and it's like, if I was alone and heard that in the woods, that'd freak me out. Yeah. So, that's a pretty bizarre one, guys. So, I don't know, take it or leave it, but this has been the Cryptid Corner. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, I don't think there will be a live show tomorrow, but any of you new listeners out there just kicking back, listening, going, what do you think of the show? Do you like it? Well, I hope you like it, and I hope you want to stick around and become part of it. We'd love to have you subscribe and ring the bell so that you're notified. Now, again, my plan is to do at least a few short live streams tomorrow, just to, show you where we are and, what's going on, maybe some, talks with people if I get a chance. But at the very least, it'll just give us an opportunity to hang out and you can be a part of the event as much as I can make you a part of it. Cell reception up there is kind of sketchy. It's okay, but it's not great. So I may be able to stream part. I may not be able to. We'll see how the cell reception is up there tomorrow. Thank you, Maggie, of course, as always. It's wonderful to see you. And I'm glad you're here. Great show, Brent and Sheldon. Love you both. Well, thanks, Mom. That's my portal mom right there. Literally my mom. Any of you that are new, that's my mom. So be nice. Be nice to her. She's a wonderful lady. All right. So, Sheldon, anything in closing?
Absolutely. If you guys want to join our Discord with all of our lovely community and us and all of the lovely discussion going on in there at all times every day, go ahead and join the link right there. Another great way to keep up to date with us and when we're going to be live next is the new home base of the portal, which is the paranormalportal.net. Links in the chat. You can go there. Also, if you have an experience or anything you want to have an interview with Dad about, there's an interview me section right there, and you can schedule whatever time and date works for you. And other than that, there's other ways to get in contact with him too. That's all I got.
Oh, I got one more thing. I forgot.
What?
Hold on just a sec. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go to full camera you for a second, Sheldon, okay?
Okay.
All right, because I got to get something quick because I almost forgot.
Oh. Well, I wonder what's happening. But yeah, as far as the Discord goes, got plenty of discussions here. Just general Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptid music, and our new ones, Paranormal Library, where you can suggest any books to each other, any media, that kind of thing, and movies. The new addition to the Discord.
New additions.
Oh, it is. I see what it is. Okay.
You do? How do you see?
Yeah, I can see behind me. There's a screen showing your one of your videos.
Oh,
cameras.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we got. Again, from our wonderful listener Carol, she sent already one of her crafts items for the show, because I've always put it out there. I'd like you guys to send in things that you made dealing with the paranormal or the Paranormal Portal. It could be caricatures of all of us, Don, Sheldon, and myself, or it could be a cryptid, or it could be anything. So we've gotten some great submissions, some beautiful stuff, and thank you to everybody that's done that. But Carol sent another one, and she says, sorry, I'm not good at crochet, LOL, but it was fun. And I was like, what did she do? So I opened it up, and this is the greatest. It's a little crochet Bigfoot.
Hold on, I'm catching up. Are you showing it?
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Holy moly, it's so behind.
Oh
my God.
Isn't that cute?
Yes.
Isn't that adorable? She crocheted this Bigfoot.
God.
The funniest part is to come. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. I think it will. But if you turn him around, it's even got a butt crack. It's even got a butt crack, folks. She went, I think this is great. It's a little Bigfoot.
Oh,
isn't that cool?
I love it.
Yeah, from Carol Motzinger.
I actually love it.
Check out the back. That's so funny. she made a little Bigfoot butt crack. Yeah. Well, if you want one, you'll have to get a hold of Carol Motzinger. She's the one that made this. And she did a brilliant job. It's just beautiful. Just awesome. So once again, thank you, Carol.
Well done, Carol. Well done. Absolutely.
I have a new Nuggle buddy. It's my little snuggler.
You have a new Mr. Nuggles. Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Yep. Little Bigfoot. So thank you, Carol, for submitting this. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to send in something of your own, like you're creative in any way, even just a drawing, whatever, it's something that represents you, because I got a lot of bare walls in the studio here. And so the object was, wouldn't it be neat to put up your guys' stuff that you sent in? Because it's twofold. I'm looking at these bare walls most of the time because I'm in here like literally 16 hours a day, 14 hours a day, whatever. And so I thought, well, it'd be neat to have stuff that you guys sent in to represent you, because you guys are the motivation for all of this. I love doing this show. I love it. There's no question. It's like, I'm a late bloomer in life. I didn't really know what I wanted to do until I started doing the portal. It's like, I love doing this. I love this community. I love this thing that we're doing together. And so it would be really neat to be able to sit here and look up, and that would be like the reminder to motivate me to keep pushing forward and to keep bringing you the best shows that I can. Not that I'm losing motivation, but you know what I'm saying? Just little representations. So things like this are awesome. I mean, he's probably going to sit on the desk here looking at me if I can figure out where he can go without blocking the monitors. But he's going to go somewhere up in the studio here, but it's just so cool. This is another thing that was sent in a long time ago. This is the shrunken head that Nessie made. Nessie, where's the face? There's the face. Yeah, it's a little shrunken head thing that hangs from my mic stand. That was from Nessie Monster, one of our chatters. She sent it in a long time ago, as well as the action figure of me up there, which is kind of up higher. I guess you probably can't see it real well from this angle. But anyway, yeah, there's little representations of you guys in here, and the more the better. So I'd love to have you guys send in your stuff, and I would be honored to put it up here in the studio. Now, to do that, go to the paranormalportal.net website that Sheldon linked to you. And if you didn't see the link, it's just paranormalportal.net. And go to the very bottom of the page, and there's a P.O. box there. So if you send your items there, that would be amazing. And I go check that several times a week. If you know you're sending something and you want to make me aware of it, just email me at paranormalportalradio.com or paranormalportalradio@gmail.com rather. And I will make sure to do a special trip just in case it's not planned, if you know when it's going to arrive. But yeah, just things like this are awesome. So thank you so much, Carol. This is the second addition she's made to the studio. It's just so cute. Look at that. Oh my God. He's so squishy. I love him. All right. So thank you so much. And I'd love to see what you guys would like to, send to me to have a little representation of all of you. So it's not an art contest. This isn't like, oh, it's got to be the best and greatest. It's just something from you. I don't care if it's a crayon drawing of a Sasquatch. Sign it. I'll put it up here. I'll be happy to put it up on my wall. So thank you guys for those of you that have, and thank you to those of you that you would be willing to. May the butts be with you. John. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll be back next Wednesday for sure, but watch tomorrow in the afternoon for any live streams. And again, ring the bell, get subscribed, because I don't know when that's going to happen. Ooh, I'm surrounded.
Oh.
There was 2 of them. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh.
One was here, right here, and the other one was kind of over by the camera, it looked like. So, yeah, very cool. All right, there you go, guys. I guess I got company, so I better get going. I didn't know they were coming, but they're here. So anyway, we'll talk to you on Wednesday for sure, but watch for tomorrow for the live streams. That's going to wrap it up for us here on the Paranormal Portal. Thank you all for being a part of the journey, and we'd love to have you get subscribed if you're not already, as I said, and we'll watch for you in the future. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, next live show right here on YouTube. So we'll see you later, guys. Good night.
Good night.